shit is happening. It's going down. Some people out there keep saying, I'm sure something's going to happen. You know, you can feel it. It's like, hang on, man, it's happening, yeah? Stop looking for a revolution. Realize you're in one. These are the times. And from my personal perspective, I didn't go through decades of actually, you know, some of the shit I've had to go through. And the fun too. Point is, it's real, yeah? This is real. And the last thing I want to do is encourage anyone to see it all as an illusion. Yes, they're using stage illusions. They are masters of this. But starting the 29th and running till the 15th of February, The Mountain Bluebird is Jamie Eastlake's first play that he's running in a London theatre. You know, so good to see people doing stuff. Now, I'll tell you what he says about this. This is his comment, just out of interest. It says, so I've wrote this play. Yeah, Jamie's an ironic lad. It's about lads who go out and live in the moment without really thinking much, who watch The Wolf of Wall Street and decide that this is the life for them, but stay in a meaningless, lifeless job and live their life through credit and Vines and Snapchats and inspirational quotes and never-ending parties and VIP booths with bottles of expensive vodka. It's also about the rise of scary far-right movements over Facebook, a la Britain's First, and what goes through the minds of these people and how their efforts are justified in their own heads and the heads of many others. It's also about redemption and coping with loss, and above all, the craziness that is social media. If these things strike a chord with you, it's on 29th of January until the 15th of February at the Courtyard Theatre, London. Do go along. A budding star, I think, but that's not just because I know him and I happen to think he's great. I admire the kid. So, that's enough. So, will that do, Jamie? Yeah, just send a check later. All right. So, I was wittering about, wasn't I, fractional reserve. The other issue that I keep trying to hammer on is the difference between an open system and a closed system. So you can look at this from terms of physics, and chemistry and thermodynamics. Look at it from all perspectives because it's exactly the same. There's two systems where money can be created. One is by a private monopoly in limited supply, and that supply represents an interest-bearing debt note. The other system is where money is created by the state as a receipt for goods or services, and it is debt-free. These are the two systems which have fought each other throughout history in a way that we're privileged to see nowadays. We can look back and see this stuff. And whereas you can have historians and economists debating the fine details, it's like we are living in a wake the fuck up moment, aren't we? Because when we look back, it is actually there. We're not just thinking we're seeing it. It is there. This is real. We are just subject to a rich man's trick. How far that goes, of course, into technologies and knowledge of our solar system and the origins of mankind and so on. Well, at the end of the day, at some level, all these things are known to a far greater extent than is publicly known. But my point is, look what's publicly known. If you look, just and put it together, look what is known. This stuff isn't actually debatable or debated, except the fine points. And that's something, please, start taking on board, because this is all unfolding before your eyes. Onwards. Private systems of monopoly with limited money. That's what we have. It's a closed system. It's based around a closed system of physics. If tomorrow we had a currency which was created by the people, we're an island. Just imagine this island is cut off from everything else. Forget the global economy for a minute. We're all sat on this island needing to get on and exchange goods and services. So we have a currency. And rather than having gold, which is the scam they're going to try and pull on you soon, I guess, is to find some gold from somewhere and, hallelujah, back a new global currency with it, instead of fiat currency, which is backed by nothing. But the point is, we need a true fiat currency backed only by the goods and services of this nation. So if you can picture it as closed off from the rest for a minute, the currency itself gains its value and is underwritten by the value of everything that we are in this country. And I can assure you, if you put that on paper now, it vastly exceeds any of these gross domestic product figures. In fact, we would be re-hijacking the system that they have put us under. Because under their system, we're worker units for them. That's nothing more. That's all we are. Worker units in a system like that. Under a free credit system, we're still worker units, but working for our own benefit as an island, as a nation, as a state, as whatever you want to call it. All those fractionally reserve created profits are being ploughed into our economy with the exchange of goods and services and trade. Don't lose sight of the fact that trade is the lifeblood of humanity, isn't it? That's why it's being hijacked. You see, and the way to get out of it is to hijack it back and cut the aorta. How we do that is, of course, the problem and the issue we face. Nevertheless, that's what we've got to do. Then stand back and watch it spray. That's kind of my philosophy on it. Or move further into the Orwellian kind of nightmare. That this House considers that the continued issue of all the means of exchange, be they coin, banknotes or credit, largely passed on by cheques by private firms as an interest-bearing debt against the public, should cease forthwith. That the sovereign power and duty of issuing money in all forms should be returned to the Crown, then to be put into circulation free of all debt and interest obligations. If you think that's me getting angry, it's not. It was Captain Henry Kirby MP in an early day motion tabled in 1964. It's like, what the hell are we doing? We just had a debate in Parliament on the same subject. Didn't quite hear it being put that way by any of our yellow-livered, bloody MPs, did we? Some good ones trying to get the message through. The rest, not. And if you think your financial system isn't controlled and that there's not something deep and mystical behind it too, as is, it's fairly well known nowadays. There's a book, Dewey and Dakin, Cycles, The Science of Prediction. In 1947, they published this book, Cycles, The Science of Prediction, and it argued the United States economy was driven by 4 cycles of different length. Dewey devoted his life to the study of cycles, claiming that everything that has been studied has been found to have cycles present. He carried out extensive studies of cyclicity in economic, geological, biological, sociological, physical sciences, and many other disciplines. And as a result of many years of research, Dewey asserted that seemingly unrelated time series often had similar cycle periods present, and that when they did, the phase of these cycles was mostly very similar. He called it cycle synchrony. He also said that there were many cycles with periods that were related by powers or products of 2 and 3. And anyone who's been following the prime number stuff, they're the only 2 prime numbers that don't follow the rule by which all other prime numbers do, for a very good reason. Dewey understood his cycle theory to be capable of understanding what the market is going to do and of predicting what may come. And this has been used in the city. It is used. They studied cycles and realized that whatever they studied, these same cycles lie underneath everything. And interestingly, they're linked to the cycles of the moon. And that's to put it simply. Call it to astrology, linked to astrological cycles, which of course include the moon. And therefore, your number 2732. So there's a whole field of discovery down that book alone. But it's there, and it's always there. That's the point I'm trying to make. If I see this, and others are, the question is, has this thing that is controlling this world seen this too? I propose that they have, but not quite for as long as we may think. It is getting into confusing times, and I'm no prophet and don't intend to be. I think what we all need to do is just become survivors and get through. You know, I spent my teenage years reading stories, and my granddad was very much caught up in First World War, was the sole survivor of a massacre, basically, and the man who rescued him out of a big pit from drowning, a bomb crater, the man who rescued him was shot himself in the process of rescuing him. You know, stories like this touched me as a kid, and I always wondered what the hell they went to war for. And this is when I got the book I quoted from earlier as well. What a wonderful thing that shows you a good insight into at least what they were thinking and reasoning and why at the time. So it is kind of worth considering. And I'm sorry if I've witted too much tonight. And then again, you know, I'm not really. Where to from there? How's about money is a new form of slavery and distinguishable from the old simply by the fact that it is impersonal. There is no human relation between master and slave. That's Leo Tolstoy. Also, the modern banking system manufactures money out of nothing. Just bear in mind, this process is the most astounding piece of sleight of hand that was ever invented. They can do what they want. And they kind of seem to be getting away with it because people are out there protesting about the bankers and their frauds and all this, but nobody's nailing it. The law is there to deal with them now, and they've committed the biggest fraud and cannot deny it. It officially is a pyramid scheme, and it's illegal. And just as a secret bonus for anyone who listens to the podcast, yeah, it's worth putting in at this point the Glass-Steagall Act. We do need in this country not only to issue our currency as a state-issued credit note, but we need our equivalent of the Glass-Steagall Act. And America obviously needs to bring its Glass-Steagall Act back. This is the one which separates the gambling, fraudulent, risky activities that the banks engage in from their other activities, which is to facilitate the flow of the funding of the public. That's all that they're there for, really, for us. And we don't actually need them for that nowadays. So it's worthy of consideration. Even Henry Ford, you know, this racist guy that everyone knows his history now, and, you know, who helped Hitler and so on, said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and money system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." You know, ladies and gentlemen, our governments have been taken over by the Nazis, among others. They have made an alliance, and they did it soon after World War II. And they do have UFO craft. And they do have technology, the like of which we've seen possibly on 9/11 and in many other ways. So it is a reality. Last word, once again, this is Mark Cocking on Pieros and Fools.